Hello, this is Michael from Blue Gem Tarot. It's time to showcase another interesting reading for you. So, yeah, I think I'm ready with the topic of, and I had to write this down because I got so many I can't even concentrate. Unsaid things people kept from you. Now, what is this going to talk about? Are going to be the conversations, the information, also the thoughts or the details or facts that people basically kept to themselves. These are the things that normally should have reached you, but either were delayed, are delayed currently, or people were just not ready to tell them or to communicate them to you. So this reading is going to be like a cornerstone for those occasions and will reflect those aspects that were pretty much unsaid and should, as I said, have reached you. Anyways, we are going to accomplish that anyways. We have 3 piles for that. You can choose multiples if you want. Multiple. You have the first pile with black tourmaline, second pile with rose quartz. In the image, I don't think you'll see much of its rose quartz ness. Okay, and third pile we have the tiger's eye. Okay, um, I'm currently thinking I will diversify the reading in sections. That means basically I will try to split and organize the information I will be providing to you, meaning that perhaps I will go as well into the good and bad stuff, just for the sake of the awareness, and I will also make sure to mention if bad stuff will be there, then I will mention the fact that how objective or not, or like really we'll dissect, like I'll try my best to showcase the nuance. Okay, so the timestamps will be in the comment section. Be sure to check that out. I think that's all. Let's begin the reading with pile number 1, the black tourmaline. Okay, and we're off to the start with pile number 1, and we have the almighty magician in here. Let me remind myself, like, unsaid things people kept from you. Okay, magician in this context of the question is going to be talking about power dynamics and in and of itself the power. Unsaid things will be marginally covering the aspect of influence and the imprint or the implications of yours that left people, like, it's very intriguing. I want to say left people intrigued and also very, very interested in knowing what's going on. So you have managed to basically affect people, impact people in such a way that they are a little bit held aback with the magician, but they are recognizing your power. I feel like this card also talks about a level of mastery or recognition that people are just insecure to mention, or they don't want to make you feel as though you are special or different or anything like this. Now, how you're gonna recognize yourself into this reading? You see, as a significator, I think that's what it's called. I hope I'm not skewing the word meaning, but this is talking about a person who is very skilled in general, and is skilled at something in specific that would make them a professional, someone really worthy of praise. And it talks about mastery because the magician is someone who has all of the elements in store to create something that they desire. I also feel like this pile will resonate with the idea of potential energy. That means you don't necessarily have to have this state of being where you've achieved everything, but I can guess already that this pile will have a very solid idea of what they want and how they're going to go about creating it. I want to also say and mention there is so much in here, like relating to the power and the respect that's coming through from this pile and this energy of the magician, also like clearance and order and organization, like of the self, clarity, empowerment, also huge aspect and huge emphasis on empowerment coming through from the things that people didn't mention. And it's the image. I feel like this is talking about the image that you have broadcasted out there, and the unsaid things are in regards to the recognition you should have received. There are also instances in here seeping from this pile as if talking like people did not agree with you, and later on they saw the truth or they understood something that you have brought up, and they recognized or said to themselves like all along they were actually very right about it. It's actually a bit shameful almost, uh, because there is too much truth being conveyed from pile number one to people that is very revealing, and unfortunately it makes it so that you catch people in a lot of their blind spots and they don't like being revealed in such a way. I want to also mention that we do have in here a lot of secrecy, meaning that people kept a lot and they keep a lot of things from your notice. Okay, so that's also keeping tabs and a lot of watchful gaze upon your progress and your interaction. I feel like we're dealing in here with someone like as a metaphor, you know, when you have a page that you follow and when you like basically you're waiting for updates. That's how you are generally perceived. It's as if people are waiting on the news board something related to your new action plan or something that you have made happen, because the magician speaks of milestones being achieved by nature of knowing all the elements that are prerequisites for that actualization. So I want to say the things unspoken and kept from you are very honorable, very noble, but they don't play very well with the idea of them being spoken out to you, because it feels like there is a lot of, again, envy, and they will think too much of themselves. Okay? I don't know. This is very interesting because it genuinely speaks about some sort of a quality of mastery. And I'm literally 5 minutes into the reading, channeling from only one card. But I also want to say, with this specific representation of the BD Tarot, it's almost as if you are very clear. Now, it's like the feeling of, I know what I want and I'll go about getting it in a very direct, straightforward, I know what I'm worth type of way. Which I want to also emphasize is very noble and honorable in this case, because we do have in here that energy of this pile is not gonna waste time. That's the feeling. Or it's like when you get your mind to like to do something, you are very, very like quality oriented, and there is something about will exertion, exertion of your personal willpower and will, that's very like, that's very majestic in a way, very royal. It's almost as if when you are announcing your presence into the room, it's very undeniable, it's very out there, it's very like, I have come in here to rule the day. And I also want to say it beautifully comes through as efficient or professionally oriented. So that means it's not necessarily an egoic, let's say, out there, like let's place my identity out there for the sake of praise. I feel like this is coming through as putting my energy or my strength and my will into something and really exceeding at it. At the same time, focusing myself and my energy upon its completion and result for the sake of evolution and progress, not for the sake or with the intention of boosting my identity or my ego out there. So this could translate in layman's terms as you being really focused on the goal or on the impact, rather than the marketing of the self, or rather like being focused on problem solving and having like a healthy dose of yes, indeed I did it, but with the again placing the um, importance on the impact and on the I want my name to be known because of the reach, because I want others to benefit out of my work. So also very interesting because I did implement that as a technique. I kind of think of something and immediately the first thing that I see starts to convey a sort of a relationship to the answer I'm seeking. So as I was looking at this card, I noticed the sun in the image of this cloth that I'm using for the readings. And I want to say it's almost as if people say or talk and don't reveal the fact that they know, and they're very aware of the fact that you reach out into many people's lives and you have effect and you have power and you leave an imprint upon this whole life of theirs, upon their views, the intricate, very like important standpoints and pillars upon which their life foundations lie. So that's almost as if you could, like, people didn't mention this to you, but you could have walked into someone's life and they've changed something, they've tinkered with something of a belief system, belief set, whatever, and it has managed to uplift and change course. So that's very interesting. You do affect people on a very intimate level. It's almost as if you could be qualified to say like you touch, you affect, and you have an impact on people's souls. That's the type of thing that I feel in here with the magician. Or you could have an intention, or you could have a potential or a capability, a very efficient one at that. So this also and or translates as someone who's really good at what they're doing. This also translates into milestones in the workplace, and this also translates as recognition of power, recognition of success, recognition of yes, you do qualify as a very good, professionally speaking, very powerful, a force to be reckoned with. Mind you, this is all coming from the magician card, which is fascinating to be honest. And the depth, I want to say there is like depth to this pile. What you show, people want to say there's also like what they keep, like they perceive you as very deep, and you show little or only a fraction that's relevant to the whole like scenario, let's say. As if there are conversations, thoughts, and words in here spoken, like there is much more to this person than they truly show. And not because you hide something. I do believe you show yourself in a situation in accordance to the relevance of the situation, of the needs of the situation, or your needs or the other person's needs. And entirely, this could also branch off in very different ways. But yeah, it's a lot of, let's say, recognition. 15 minutes that will be from one card, I can't believe it. Must I really like notice and mention the fact that this pile unfortunately is going to be left in the fog relative to a lot of the things that you should have been appreciated for? It's almost as if there is too much like overload or maybe overwhelm when you come into the room and you can't catch people off guard. And you're like, I did my job, shifting gears, doing another, and it's like you don't get the chance to actually hear those compliments, and it's like I'm too busy for that. So this reading kind of showed itself up for this reason. I want to also add, this is very fascinating to be honest, like as an energy, because the Five of Pentacles I have added in here is going to be from the left side. I feel like generally this is going to be talking about some really life, like tough life lessons, or something of a place that you had to start from. And I feel like this could have been a very lonely journey. What people see right now as a final product is more or less something that you had to chew through big time. I feel like this was trial and error. I feel like this was challenge that was very like a challenge of sorts where it was very complicated. It was really life circumstances that forced you to become a powerhouse in this context. Um, Also, interestingly enough, because we have the topic of unsaid, unspoken things, this will relate with the Two of Cups to the idea of people being very, like, this is very paradoxical, very hesitant, but very powerfully drawn towards you, and it's almost as if people seek refuge. Um, there is hesitation with the unspoken. It's almost as if people would want to meet you at a very vulnerable state, or like a childlike, openness, where they would feel like there are no bars, there are no obstacles, there are no things in between you and them when it comes to connection. It's also very interesting to note that it's almost as if you have shut the door to disappointment, and you related that shutting the door to the idea of I'm busy with myself right now. And there is some sort of aspect of people wanting to come in, but they can't, or they feel like life is not about them. I think that in this case, literally is going to be about people wanting to reach out and wanting to be your friends or wanting to even participate into your life somehow. But it feels like the authority or the actual status that you do possess in here with the magician, and it feels like it's a very pervasive energy, by the way, which is very interesting because, as I was saying, it reminds me of someone who can be actually popular. You could have a reputation of someone who's like a, as I said, a professional, a prodigy of sorts, someone who excels at their work, or if this is not work related, this could be about a lifestyle, this could be about something that you did by yourself or you are self-made. The unspoken things people kept from you are going to relate to the fact that they feel a bit threatened by that authority and they do not know if they have even a chance to enter your life. And also, there seems to be an issue in here with this Five of Pentacles. Maybe you have been going through some sort of like period of, like, as I said, harsh. It's a very harsh energy, to be honest. It's like hardships. Maybe you didn't have anyone to rely on. So this could be literally the case. But in here, like with the Two of Cups, this could be also cooperation. This could be contract signing because this is like an agreement between two people, two parties. This can be the case also. And I also want to say, it's almost as if people would want to be friends, but they want to also take part, or they would like to watch. It's almost as if you'd have a situation, for example, if this is work related. Um, let's say you want to create like a contract with someone at work, and amidst the process of signing the contracts, the other party realizes that you're a really good person to have around beyond the business side, beyond the actual interaction that's only like financially related, or like only like it's almost as if we have in here people who have managed to somehow open up sides of you that would be considered beyond work, and they found that they really like what they saw. um, it's again the instance of someone who went through some harshness but got out of it, even like in a renewed sense. It's almost as if that's the case. When they say like issues or pain reveals pain reveals who you are. Like that's something I came to conclusions with, because when you're faced with a situation, the situations or the circumstances force you to become, or force you to react, or force you to reveal who you are. So it's like in dire situations you reveal who you are, and in this case something very honorable. It's almost as if the harshness or the life lessons you've been enduring are chiseling a very powerful version of yourself that stands out and is relishing in that sense of power and authority. And again, it's not necessarily as a goal to do that, but it feels like you are excelling at the game of life. That's the energy I feel. And people begin to see that the relationship with you, because the Two of Cups could be an agreement for a relationship, people want to have a relationship with you because of that status, because of that influence or power that they can feel, and because they see you as someone who's multifaceted and multi-developed. It's very interesting. Like, as I'm looking at this Two of Cups, there is a lot of recognition and gratitude coming through. Like, this is, it's genuinely feeling me, it's giving me a very strange feeling because I don't see this every day. But you know, you do have instances in here with people who are wanting to see and to know you on a personal level. This is like intimacy oriented, and that's something I don't see every day. And in this case, for pile number one, it's like literally the moment when you least expect it, it happens. You know, that's the pile number one. So it's like you don't know, or you're not necessarily expecting to be met with that amount of being seen. That's very interesting. So it's catching me like a bit off guard in here, to be honest, because also for you it would be something relatively new or something that you usually don't find, or you're no longer looking for that. Like your radar is no longer registering the instances or situations that would make you like feel connected necessarily or want to be connected, or you're it's not necessarily that, but it can be the case like is this is not your end goal. Okay. Also, this is interesting, like the Two of Cups says this. You got people keeping tabs on you, and I hate it when it goes into that general message kind of thing. um, to clarify and to make a difference in that statement, I'm gonna say this. People spy and they want to know you better. This is with the Two of Cups. This is like, again, coming through as a desire to find situations, find moments in time that you would be most receptive to be open and communicate with them. Yeah, this is almost as if, you know, finding ways and finding opportunities to connect. And this is like very free, very. Don't be surprised also if this pile, you're going to encounter situations where people would just want to get to know you. They would find some very strange circumstances to contact you. They would find like excuses to contact you as well. You can expect also people to pop up and show up in your messages, in your friend requests, or even like at work, they would specifically bump into you for the with the like intention to know you. That's interesting. Like pile number one is very captivating, like your life story, something about you is very captivating and they want to know like what's going on. How did you manage to get to that point, or what's your life story, you know? I would be like, this is surprising and also kind of funny, but if you'd be like writing like a biography of sorts, or you'd be posting it, you'd find that a lot of people would be interested in picking up the book or the post and basically looking through it and reading it thoroughly. Um, yeah, it's just like something I see in the cards in here, and it's genuinely very like I didn't expect I'd stumble today upon this, but now let's go into the category. I almost forgot about this, by the way. Unsaid things people kept from you. I will go into the positive scale. This was more so the neutral one, though it was also positive as well. Let's see. from the positive scale. Oh my God, you have the King of Wands in reverse. From the positive scale, this is going to be a recognition of character, stamina, and charisma. The King of Wands in reverse could be a little bit overly energetic, but it feels like this person, in this case, because it's the positive scale, it's you are vibrant and you are pulsing with life. This is very like unexpected because people see like something of a past thing or things you've been struggling, or yeah, it's fascinating how this pile has never lost the will to live. And it's a very like people are getting inspired by that kind of level of energy, and they would like unkept, oh my God, unsaid things they kept to themselves is like looking at you and thinking like, wow, why can't I be like this? And or it can be the case like they have been asking themselves, what's the source of their power? Yeah, it's very out there. What's the source of the power for pile number one? Because it's they want to know like what drives you, what motivates you, what makes you get up in the morning, something like this. And some of you could be coming to me like saying, I don't know if I'm like that. Like, I don't know if I'm a very dynamic, like, as I said, very energy full type of person, like, filled with energy in this case. Is this is how people perceive you. So it can be the case that for you, this is like low level, but for them, it's like a whole different level, or like it's a whole different definition. It can be the case. So yeah, I don't know what you're talking about if you're going to come at me with that, but yeah. And the positive unsaid things kept by people are also going to be, again, coming through from the scale of the finances, work, and a very good work ethic, or being very honest, or being very value oriented. Knight of Pentacles. This is a card that says like I'm gonna go in the slowest way possible, but I'm gonna orient myself to the quality for the quality of the whole thing, and I will not spare time and sacrifice quality for the sake of it. So in this case, a lot of compliments, I wanna say, pile number one. You've got a lot of like almost example, like people would want to make you an example of sorts, and they would want, if this is work related, congratulations, this is bosses, higher ups, coworkers talking about your work capability. And in this case, like don't think that you're not appreciated at work necessarily. Maybe you're not being told this, but I want to say, and you have to know this for sure. And this is like your shining light. Like this subject is something that it's pervading the reading. You are seen as a very good like irreplaceable coworker. Okay, this is if this is not necessarily work related, or you want to see or hear a message that's beyond work, this is from the type of message that says we won't meet pile number one, like we won't meet a similar person to pile number one. This pile feels like a legend, to be honest. And when I say legend, it's the feeling where you meet someone and you know that their life story, the ways in which they've chiseled themselves and they've made themselves how they are today, into who they are today, it's something that you won't see repeat itself. So a lot of individuality that's coming through from pile number one as well. And yeah, as I said this word already, it's like powerhouse energy, so it's not surprising. Now we're going to go to the unsaid things people kept to themselves. Oh my God, from the more so negative scale. Okay, mind, I must say, of course, this is not going to be necessarily very objective. This is just a check-in to be sure, like that I have covered multiple sides of the reading. We have the Knight of Wands and the Three of Cups both in reverse. So I want to say, with the Knight of Wands, people could see you as temperamental, or they would say, or they would think that you are on your own mind and you're not very compromise oriented. I wanna go ahead and say this. It feels like this pile is very defined in their purpose, and from the exterior, this is going to be perceived as stubborn or maybe self-centered. However, this doesn't have to be, because I do see in here someone who believes in their purpose. I've seen this very, very like rarely. I've seen people go with the flow. That's completely fine as well, because you could go with the flow in the direction of your purpose. But in this case, it's a very defined, like, I know my boundaries. So for people, it's a little bit out there. The negative scale of like that message is going to be about pile number one accepts no compromise. But this is not about compromise as well. This is about like how far you can go with someone in accordance, and how well do they fit with your life philosophy and your directions. And that doesn't mean that you have to take everyone in. So it's like, yeah. And also with the Three of Cups, this could be talking about an aspect of loneliness. So it's like people look at you and say like they're not so very friendly. Again, this is a misconception, because I feel like pile number one can be and is actually for this pile very loving. It's almost wanting to say like you are just carrying your own like stuff. You don't want to be like, it feels like the message wants to say that like I don't want to be a burden for someone. You're not a burden. You are more so an inspiration, I want to say. And do remember to drop some like hints or just some invitations for people to connect, because I do see in here an eagerness to connect to you. And it's not something you have to do necessarily, but I do see and feel in here some genuine gratitude and connection, a desire to connect. And there is a lot of unknown and blind spots relative to people's perceptions. Ten of Wands in reverse. People see only the results. They do not know what you had to go through. So this is like Ten of Wands is almost like we would encounter with this pile messages such as they've got it all easy. And this couldn't be farther from the truth, because I don't believe like this is the case. I believe this pile has had both the curse and the blessing of defining themselves through their life experience. And this is not about the Ten of Wands in reverse. If anything, if you ever had to drop something that was burdening you, or you just went through it and you solved it and you came to resolution with it, it was because like you deserved it so much, and it was something that ultimately came in as like a blessing in disguise, something like this. So definitely don't pick up the stuff that, you know, could go into the negative scale type of message, because it's people perceive you with their whole like level of consciousness, and this is not necessarily accurate. People perceive and see as much as they can in accordance with their current level. So it's if someone is prone to projecting a lot, unfortunately they can project on you as well. So yeah. And ending with like a whole wrap up for the reading, I want to say also a positive thing. Um, we have in here the Nine of Swords. Positive things people kept from you. This is admiration for the challenges and for the things that you had to go through, and for the fact that there was no moment that they saw that you broke or that you gave up. This is someone like I see metaphorically, and I will end with this this reading, this pile, I'm sorry. You know that feeling when you go on a contest with a friend, and that friend has to go through trials, and you support them, and you like support them from the like you look up to them winning. That's the feeling I get in here. Like you've got a lot of people. Like this is going to be. I feel like this message, like it's very close to you people. Um, these are very precious and valued relationships, And you've got these people saying like, we are like looking forward to you winning, like no matter what, you know that you can do it, no matter what, we've seen you succeeding. So it's like that feeling when you watch a friend go through trials and you support them all the way through with the Nine of Swords. You know, this is also very interesting because it's that same feeling when you create and cherish memories, like difficult ones, by nature of knowing that you had someone to stick through them, and also by nature and by virtue of seeing how well they performed and how brave and how powerful someone is when they were exposed to something that was very difficult. So this is genuinely very fascinating because usually I don't see those messages linked to the Nine of Swords. Well, but in this kind of question, I feel like this is going to be the case. So yeah, that was all pile number one. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to check out my old videos as well. And if you want to donate, go ahead. That's awesome. Thank you so much for all of you who supported my journey and who continue to still support me in all the ways possible with likes and whatever else. Yeah, hope to see you in the future readings. Take care. Hello, pile number two. Those of you who chose the rose quartz. I know you won't see much of the roseness of it, but I assure you it's a rose quartz. You can check from the older videos. Okay, checking with the topic, unspoken, unsaid things people kept to themselves about you. Oh my god. You see that you have the Queen of Pentacles. This is hilarious and fascinating and wonderful, what I see in here already. Your presence brings peace, contentment, hope, renewal, joy, optimism, will to live. Oh my god. Queen of Pentacles, this is basically like what's your presence like doing, okay? It's why do I get the feeling with this pile like you are someone who is helping others in very various and different ways, forms. Even I cannot really put my finger on it, but it really doesn't matter because I see the effects in here. Oh my god. This is fascinating. Why is fascinating? Because not only this is the Queen of Pentacles, which talks about the traditionally the card implies that we are dealing with a very self-sufficient and abundant and, let's say, stable financially, and this could be like even more about like not only finances but even more like going beyond that. But in this case, especially because you have the pink quartz, it's do you realize how much joy, how much happiness, how much greatness you bring to people? Do you even realize? Because in here with these grapes hanging about all over the place and flowers, it's as if people want to give you and place their gratitude and gifts and recognition almost like they would place things on a sacred altar. Okay. I don't know why this is unspoken, unsaid, but you catch people off guard perhaps with that kind of energy, and they find themselves feeling very, very grateful, but they cannot match that energy, they cannot reciprocate it. And it feels like most of the time you'll be seeing people you helped in a very like kind of scattered and confused way. And you'd be questioning like, did I bring that person anything of value? Oh my god, you did. You don't even know. Because you also have flowers and also representation of a bunny in here. So it's like whatever it is that you touch, whatever it is that you change and alchemize with your presence seems to be flourishing even more. So unsaid, unspoken things about pile number two are going to range from gratitude to recognition to love to appreciation to genuine fascination. And this is, again, very interesting. If you resonate with pile number 1, go ahead and watch it. But I want to say, oh my god, cannot catch my breath. It's fascinating and very endearing for the fact, this pile, for the fact that you don't actively seek those. So we're not in this vampiric, desperate state of needing or wanting. I feel like this pile has created a sort of a kingdom of sorts or queendom of sorts. And your power and your influence, your authority lies in your gentleness, lies in the depth of how you affect the people around you. And let me say, you affect people quite greatly in here. I don't know, this is very interesting because this is very gentle energy. Like, I want to say, when you perceive the piles, I will say compliments for each pile, but I don't compare and I don't place importance on one pile or another, because that's as ridiculous as comparing which color is more beautiful. This is not how it works. Anyway, red has a beauty that blue doesn't, and blue has a beauty that red cannot embody, and each is very beautiful in its own way. So this pile is going to win a lot of hearts over, like, and this is not going to talk about, again, like a competition of sorts. This is not going to talk about a deliberate way of going about, like, I'm gonna win hearts. No way. This is like very interesting as a scenario. Like, what comes to mind for this pile? You just happen to go by, stop by someone, assist them with something, and then you disappear and you drift away. With your drifting away, going away, people are a little bit caught off guard. Like, who was that person? Why did they answer exactly what I was looking for? And this is interesting because I didn't do that in the past, but the hair in here from this person's card is very flowy. I know not every single one of you are going to resonate with the fact that you have long hair, but still, this doesn't remind me of it. It reminds me of the representation of, you must have heard about Rapunzel and about, like, specifically there is a cartoon Tangled that represents a person who's like Rapunzel, who's able to heal with her hair when she sings a song, whatever. And in this case, it's like you can have this healing, very, like, it reminds me a lot because the hair in here is golden, it's overflowing, and it merges with the throne. So it's like the pile number 2s can have a very soothing and healing effect on people. And this is, I must remember to mention, this is unsaid, unspoken things. I literally am surprised and a little bit like questioning my sanity. Why didn't this pile receive the messages and the information? Okay, maybe it's, again, like coming through from the energy of someone not being mature enough. Like, the people or the demographics are like a little bit not as mature or not as ready to face that kind of gentle, soothing energy. And yeah, it for some reason reminds me of someone who's in such a state. I'm talking about the people around you. They're in such a state that they are, all they can do is receive and just remain silent, okay? And thus we have the unspoken title, again. You will come in people's lives, and you've already come into people's lives with being or embodying an answer to a question. I want to say also, people want to say, or they didn't tell you this, that before your appearance, things were very complicated. Oh my god, that's my intention. I literally, that's my intention. Like, that's my intention. This is why I'm channeling this, because the intention is filtering through that kind of energy. But yeah, I'm so happy about the result, by the way. But before your appearance into some people's lives, things were heavy, very complicated, very out there, very like advanced mathematics, advanced physics, whatever. And it was burdening and it was exhausting. It was, you catch people in a lot of, like, let's say productive zone oriented, let's be productive, let's do something, let's self develop, like let's actualize the self, you know, let's evolve, whatever, like let's ascend. No, this pile came through and said, you didn't even say anything, like that's so funny. This pile, especially with this representation, feels like for some reason, objectively, or you know, not objectively, but from the standpoint of a stranger, they would look at you and say, this pile didn't do anything. Okay. And this pile is also an example of you didn't do anything, but with not doing anything, you did the most. Okay. And this is hilarious because the Queen of Pentacles is someone who is not going to be fire and like, I'm gonna go and conquer the world. No, it's like, not, I don't need to conquer the world because there is nothing that needs conquering right now. Anything, if anything, this world needs nurturing. So this pile is like, you did the most, or you created the most effect or the most impact by just simply being there and nurturing and loving people around you, things around you. It's, I don't know, this is the feeling I got from previous piles in the past. You know, there is the unfortunate story, legend of the King Midas, that was the case with a person who was able to touch anything and it became gold, and at some point they starved. Well, in this case, if we would have a happy ending, or we would have the best or the most refined and beautiful story of the King Midas, that would be the case with pile number 2. And I don't want to like come through like with an energy of, you know, why am I talking about so many good things in here and I'm not mentioning the bad things. This is energy wise, so it's something that permeates the reading. It's something that wants to be said. It's something that speaks. It's something that cannot be avoided. So this is very interesting because, again, pile number 2, whatever it is that you touch becomes gold, and you do so from a very effortless standpoint, which is very interesting. Very like you should be teaching people around you to just be. Okay. Also, I feel like something genuinely about this pile is very new to me, because there is simplification, there is being genius in something being very like beautiful because it's very simple, something being so profoundly deep and beautiful simply because it's not complicated, not overthought, not like brought to such an extent of effort that it basically makes you go into a burnout. So this pile is about effortless being, effortless doing, success, and income based on something that you enjoy doing. So you could be a person who's preaching about that, who can be talking about that aspect as well. Yeah, it's not only that, I get the message of people wanting you to teach them how they can excel at that art as well. So, and also let's not forget the fact that you have in here a representation of a person who's wearing a white robe. So this is also, or can be talking about, an aspect of innocence, of well-being, or a desire for well-being for everything and everyone. Rose quartz is like this because it's a heart chakra type of a crystal, and yeah, it's genuinely like, and with the amount of flowers, grapes, and the ambience of the whole card in the classical representation, it's almost as if the person is integrated in the nature, in the surroundings, in the bounty of nature, in the fruits of their labor. So especially with those grapes, for some reason, it reminds me like people watching you, coming back, saying thank you, saying like, you taught me so much, and you'd be like, what? I didn't teach you anything, I just happened to be in your proximity. Or that moment when you work diligently on something, pile two num pile number two comes through, shows you a way of doing it even more easily, even it's like, and pile number two does it in a very free way. So it's like, I'm not blaming you, I'm not teaching you anything, I'm just doing my work, and I'm like setting an example, and people will be like, oh my god, like, it's that simple, like you can do it, like you can do it in such a simple way. And I was overcomplicating things, and pile number two is like, I didn't teach you anything, I just happened to stumble across you somehow, it just happened to be there. So I would see like you being like a prodigy of sorts, but you don't take credit for it. Yeah, so in the people's eyes, you possess a lot of qualities, and a lot of good things are being ascribed to you. Drop the comments below, by the way. I'm very interested to know what's going on, because this energy is very gentle. It's almost as if it was not siphoned through by you. It was something that just happened to be there. Like, pile number two, what is going on? Like, this is very fascinating. Like, are you aware of this? Are you doing, like, for sure you don't do this on purpose, but it feels like the more you excel at being yourself, the more people around you seem to be fascinated by it. Okay, and I was taking other cards to clarify or to give me additional information. Okay, this is going to be such, like, how do they say it? Like, it's a curveball or whatever. You have the strength card, and speaking from the standpoint of me mentioning the fact that you could be seen as very static in a way, and not in the bad way, by the way. Something about this pile says not moving sometimes is better than moving, or not doing something irrationally or drastically or haphazardly, let's say, is like, sometimes it's better to just focus and concentrate your energy for the right moment. So literally, with strength, what people didn't say or they kept to themselves, it's the recognition of your power. This pile possesses a power that is, it can be physical, by the way. I'm not gonna cut out the people who will resonate with that, but most likely this is not going to be the case with pile number two. You are going to feel like you possess some sort of power or influence, but in various indirect ways or forms. Is the case where you could have been seen by someone who is like a higher up, or someone who somehow in rank is higher than you, and they understood how valuable you were, and by nature or by virtue of that, you have managed to rise or to have an advantage of sorts. Again, you didn't chase, you didn't go for it, but it was a byproduct. Okay, with the Eight of Swords, it's as if people say like, something very strange is happening with pile number two. They are in the right place at the right moment at the right time. When something of a blessing is hanging about, not knowing who to bless, pile number two just happens to be there, and this blessing is like overflowing upon them. People see you as protected, both physically, socially wise. People see you as having a great deal of people who are going to protect you in case that something goes wrong, or in case something that in the event that something goes terribly wrong or not how it should be, it's the feeling like, God have mercy on that person who's going to be blamed by pile number 2, because it's going to be hellfire for them. Pile number 2 can be also seen with the 8 of Swords, empowerment in somehow some sort of imprisonment, and this is very strange. I want to make sure to clarify this. 10 of Pentacles. You know that moment when you see like dogs outside, and the more muscular a dog, or the bigger the dog is, the more calm it is, and the smaller or the more innocent, not innocent, but like childish, you know, these dogs that are very small and they kind of have this, or they throw the tantrums all over the place. Like this pile feels like they're this muscular dog in this situation. Like, don't get this weird, but when the two meet, usually the stronger dog, it's like they don't react to it in any shape, way, or form. Like, they just sit there and they just watch. Like, this is so funny. Like, I'm not gonna even place my attention on it. So this pile is like, going back from the metaphor, it's calm in any circumstance, non-reactive, powerfully grounded in their power and in their influence. Like, you don't even need to worry, you don't need to even like say anything. Everything's being given to you. So it's like people would universally look at you and say, like, they don't move, or they don't budge, or why are they not doing anything, or why aren't they moving? Okay, so it's like, in this case, like, you'd watch the dogs and think like, why isn't this bigger dog reacting in any way? Well, there is no threat to react to. So this pile is going to be about this. So there is a ton of respect coming through from pile number 2. There is a ton of questions, interest. Who are you? Who is pile number 2? Where did you come from? Like, what's going on? That kind of thing. So it's also caution and care, and also a hesitation of sorts to not get on the bad side with you. Yeah, that's very strange, but it's the case for sure. Okay, now let's go on the positive scale, because this is very general. Like, let's ask the cards unsaid, unspoken things people kept to themselves that is going to be okay from the positive scale of the message. 5 of Cups in reverse. This is optimism, this is flexibility, resilience. People said, and they kept it to themselves. You should have heard this, by the way, but or perhaps it did. But there is a lot of word out there, and gossip, and conversations about the fact that pile number 2 must have had, or must have gone through something. Like, people are saying like, it cannot be that pile number 2 is not grounded in reality, or where they live in, or they are like, they must be acquainted with the harshness of the world. However, there is a defined sense of choice, and also a very unconscious, for some of you is going to be a conscious desire to transform, to change, and to always find a solution in something that is not working. So this is very noble. Oh my god, this is like, the 5 of Cups is exactly the opposite of victimization. It's exactly the opposite of, I'm just gonna cry myself my days through, like, in the pillow. And maybe you did that, because with the 5 of Cups flipped, it can be about healing. So you could have nurtured your emotions to such an extent that you have managed to basically find a solution. This is I must also mention, this is the part where you have picked yourself up in a very graceful, noble, and very, very noble and refined way. Oh my god, I don't have the word to express it, but it's like a very noble reorganization, resilience, and rebuild, like being rebuilt out of anything that is negative, anything that seemingly threatens even like your survival. It's like no matter what you throw at pile number 2, they will find a way to transform and to change it into something even better than than it was given. So it's like, even if you were to be faced, or if anything bad of an insult could be thrown at you, you'd be like finding ways to basically excuse that person, either to isolate, somehow like not isolate, but separate yourself from the situation and still save a sort of a compassionate way to look at them and to try to understand them. So this is a very compassionate by the way. Yeah, and you have the Three of Swords, oh my god, in reverse. So it's like you've got a lot of compliments on the fact that you are a very, very emotionally intelligent person. Yeah, it's fascinating what's going on in here with pile number 2. Now let's go on the negative type of scale. So yeah, we have the Five of Cups, the Five of Swords. Very interesting message coming through. They say that you are sometimes you're too like this is not going to be necessarily the case, but these are the negative things that people said. Sometimes you're too forgiving, sometimes you're just, and they think that if you're going to keep on doing this, people will profit off of you. I feel like this pile is wise enough to be very, very discerning and very aware of people's intentions. So I don't think like it's going to be the case that you are going to be profited off of. It's people don't understand that you try to understand others and you try to give them chances, or you try to redeem them. But from their standpoint, because they don't feel like they're so eager to help others, this is going to feel or see, they will see you as someone who gives too many chances. With the Five of Pentacles, it's like, I forgot about this message, but it was again the stagnancy. Like they will not see it as static prosperity, they will see it as stagnancy. So you can have people around you who can say pile number 2 is too stagnant, too still at times, they don't move. You have your wisdom and your logic in your ways in which you do things, and for other character types, for other people, this is not going to make sense. It doesn't have to make sense because this is your life and your lifestyle. But it's interesting because I mentioned, or I managed to see that we did have a lot of static cards in here, starting from the Queen of Pentacles to Eight of Swords, which is basically like standstill and imprisonment. Also with the Ten of Pentacles, which is also like the end goal of, or the end scenario of someone who has managed to manage their like finances, their abundance, to work with their abundance, something like this. You know, you've got a lot of fear in the background. I will not go there into it, but you've got a lot of people who say like, I would do it differently. And in this case, if they were to do it differently, they would end up with a different result. And it doesn't mean, by the way, that it would be a positive result. I feel like this pile is so advanced in the sense of, sometimes it can look like I am imprisoned, sometimes it can look like I'm stuck, but this cannot be farther from the truth. I feel like this can be even a very sly way of waiting for the right opportunity. Again, this could be a very sly move, this could be a very genius move. Like, it can look like I'm sitting still, it can look like I'm stagnant or stuck, or I am standing still. But again, this cannot be farther from the truth. Remember, I was talking in the beginning about people around you overcomplicating things. It's as if pile number 2 would rather sit in silence and in their own sense of truth and step into the world from that intention, from that standpoint, and create something very beautiful, rather than complicate and create a scenario or a life that's driven by haphazard chaotic and explosive energy that in the end of the day only stirs the cauldron, and not only it doesn't wield results, but it leaves you drained. This pile is an expert, a master at learning to manage and to be ecological in their power usage and in their exertion of their will. And sometimes from people in the exterior, this will look like inaction. But when inaction is taking place outside, it can be a sign of a very powerful move or a very powerful evolution that's coming from the inside, that's happening on the inside. Because I've seen this countless times with myself, that when you work on yourself, when you evolve, when you invest in self-awareness, for example, you've got a lot of waves and tsunamis that you go through inside of yourself, in your soul, in your feelings, in whatever it is that you consider yourself. In the exterior world, this could look like this person is doing nothing. Like literally, I've had instances such as these. I can't relate more to this pile. Like, this is fascinating how it resonates with me as well. But what can I say? Like, people are going to be people. They will have opinions, they will have expectations, and they will have some sort of objections. They will have things that they will consider should be done in different ways. But luckily, this pile has already harnessed the power and the consequences of living a life that's in tandem with who they are, with who they want to be, and like the joy of living. That's all I can say with this pile. And I want to also leave you on a positive note, because I was delving into the negative side of the message. Seven of Pentacles in reverse. Whether you believe in yourself or not, and you could be just as much like believing in yourself, I'm not saying it, you don't know what you're headed into. And when I say it from a very positive waypoint standpoint, you know. Seven of Pentacles, in this case, not only you got people on your side, but you don't know how much they believe in you, you don't know how much they see you and how much value they see in you and how blessed they feel like you are out there. Okay, that's with the Seven of Pentacles. And with a surprise note, I want to leave you on that. You are currently aiming for something. Okay, you're aiming for something that's very beautiful, that's very like self-driven. This could be about the purpose I was talking about, or being like purpose-driven in general. But I must say, you're headed into something even greater than you expected. Again, you excelled at being yourself, and you're going to be happy about it. You're going to feel fulfilled by living and by thriving in your own zone. You will not expect the things that you will stumble across, because it will feel like it's going to be surreal. Like, you will be in situations where you will stumble across some blessings and some, like, I don't know, I don't want to go there because I don't want to spoil the surprise. But if you resonated so far, then hear me out. This is about the future. You expected an outcome, a very honest outcome with yourself, like with your own, like living my happiness out. You are headed into something even greater because of the impact that you've had on a lot of people. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. This feels like with the Seven of Pentacles, like, you know, the rule of thumb or the general logic of things, it's you work hard. Like, this is what you'll hear from people: you work hard, or you work on something and you see the result. Well, in this case, you work on something. It's not about working hard, by the way. And you will see the result being tenfold, and you'll see something that you did not expect. It just, like, again, you'll be encountering the same scenario of, I just happened to be doing my thing and I ended up being blessed in so many various ways and forms. Yeah, that's all pile number 2. That was a very exciting and very pure and very positive reading. And this is because of what you represent, by the way. I hope it resonated with you. If it did, please like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Make sure to check out my old videos as well. And if you'd like to donate and support my mission, you can as well freely do that. I will attach the link in the timestamps. Donations are not, you don't have to feel pressured to do it. I just remind people it's an option that I have to do. I have to drop it in the comments, and yeah, I think that's all. I really hope to see you and to hear from you in the future readings. I feel like the more I gather subscribers, the more refined and the more ramifications of the future I can read, and I seem to be gathering a very interesting demographic because I delve into some scenarios and some like ramifications, as I said, that you don't see every day. That's just all I wanted to say. It's very like it's it's a lot. It can be a lot sometimes because it's like, you know, that feeling when you get too much, like you wanted sweets and then you were given like that sort of thing and then that kind of thing, and you're overwhelmed with the choices and you're like, yeah, I just need a little bit more time to process everything. So I think if anything, that was speaking about pile number 2 as well. But anything else I wanted to add, it's thank you so much for your support. If you are someone who has watched other videos, I love you all, and I appreciate the fact that you're commenting, and I appreciate you for the fact that you're supporting and showing your love in various ways. Thanks so much. Take care. Hello and welcome to the reading pile 3. You chose the Tiger's Eye Crystal. Oh my god, this is so interesting because you have the Star card in reverse, okay? Unsaid, unspoken things people kept to themselves. This is very strange information, but I'll drop it still. Something about this pile is unbelievable, shocking, very strange. Cannot wrap my mind around it. Why? We have the Star in reverse. The Star in reverse seemingly reminds me of the description of the card in the context of it being despair. So, something strikes me that this pile has been through something and people know about it, or they can feel it, or they can see it, or they can sense it, and it's making them say it cannot be. Like, it cannot be this person has been through so much and still rule the day. You are doing very well. This is very interesting. So it's like, it cannot be that this pile is doing so well after what they've been through. Or with the Star in reverse, there is disbelief. Not gonna lie, like, this is unbelievable. I can't believe I'm channeling this information, but it's on the edge of the message. They cannot be managing it that well. Okay, I don't know what that is, but for you, because this is major arcana, this could be something also major from your life. So this is not just work, this is something about the ways in which you carry yourself, or there is like seemingly an error in the system. When I try to read this card, it's like something is not right. Like, people say something is not right, okay? Like, this person cannot do this and that and this one. Like, you could be someone who's doing two things that you know best what that is, but that can be seemingly contradictory, but at the same time you make it so that they are complementary. So it's like, it reminds me of situations in movies where, you know, for example, in those I remember from Harry Potter, like, Hermione was present at both classes that she seemingly couldn't have been like there, like present. But later on, we discover that nobody asked this because she was time traveling. I'm not saying, like, who knows, but I don't necessarily, like, believe that we do have in here, like time travelers, of course. But yeah, this is crazy, like what I'm saying right now. But still, something about this is genuinely making people question, like, what's going on, what's happening with pile number 3. Do let me know, however, what's going on, because of course I'm not crazy insane to say like we are dealing with time travelers. Maybe time traveling can relate to the aspect of soul retrieval. I've heard that maybe you are working on yourself and changing yourself so well that people cannot understand how you're doing it. Okay, now this is crazy, like I don't know how to justify this whole information, but the information that's coming through, it's saying under normal circumstances you should have, like, I don't know why this is like perished. Okay, under normal circumstances pile number 3 should have perished, should have, like, that's what people expect on the usual narrative. However, in your case you have managed to change course. Please let me know what's that, because I am genuinely so many question marks, so many things I cannot quite understand. But you made something happen that didn't or shouldn't have been, or shouldn't, people thought that you, like, logically that didn't have to be. Maybe you are a survivor of sorts from some sort of circumstances, I don't know, but you did it, and you did it with such grace and poise that people were like, yeah, this stuff is from movies. Okay, yeah, like, I have to clarify this. Okay, I just don't, can I please understand what's going on? The fool. Yeah, and I thought this is going to be easier. I sense in here a circumstance of transformation, changing course. Two of Wands, it's like continuing a narrative, continuing, like, I don't know what's going on. I should be reading cards but not getting confused on it. Okay, I'm genuinely intrigued, and yeah, it's just 3 of Swords in reverse. It's giving me someone who has been through like an event or something that was soul crushing, or should have been soul crushing, but you made it through. And it was, yeah, do let me know, because I'm losing my mind over it. The star card is saying they came back, they came back, they came back. They came back as if nothing happened with the Fool. And with the 3 of Swords, it's like there is no trace, there is only silent continuing on. And they did it so well, like with the star. They did it. It's like, people look forward to understanding also, like, what's going on, how did you make it happen? And it's like, I would be expecting this pile to be like, haha, I know for sure, like, I know what this is, because with the tiger's eye, I remember assigning meaning to this crystal as foresight. Disaster averted. This is spiritual in nature because of the star card, but it's like anything is possible when you believe in it. Okay, like with the Fool. Or it can be that people look at you and say, as I'm looking at this Fool card, I managed to understand that this person is walking into the air or is stepping into the void. So it can be the case that people genuinely don't understand what's the logic or how does your life progression generally happen, because one day you're here, the other you're there, and the progress from one point to another doesn't follow logic. It follows some sort of serendipity, it follows some sort of divine or haphazard, like, from their standpoint, it's luck. It's like, this is not supposed to happen. This shouldn't have been, but it is. Like, it's undeniable. And it's kind of scary at the same time. You know what? And with the Page of Cups, it's like, yeah, and I made it happen because I'm me, you know. mm. You are a walking mystery, pile number 3, and people just. This is not. This is not only about not mentioning and not saying an unspoken. This is. I don't know what pile number 3 is made of, because this is just. It's insane how this pile is not. Maybe this is what it is about, but this pile is not mm, adhering to some sort of thing or logic of the whole world that generally functions. So this is like, I know it, like pile number 3 should be like, I know exactly what this is. So you have your own rules. What I'm trying to say is like, you have your own rules and conduit of behavior, and it's as if you manifested it. Okay, so whatever the situation is in here, it's as if you have managed to birth it into creation, because you had this very strong link to the spiritual aspect. And we've had there the magician, and like right now the moon. So unsaid, unspoken things people kept to themselves, it's literally, you are a mystery to them. It's very confusing. It's very like, in the people's eyes, in the social view, in the perspective of the people that are watching you, who are watching you, you don't follow something that's predictable. So it's as if, in math they have this like trajectory of sorts where they can predict something. Well, with pile number 3, there is no such law that would predict their like move. Okay, that's what I'm sensing. And um the sense of energy, I feel like it's blank. Like when it comes to people's unspoken stuff, it's so out of their radar, the ways in which you've built your life, that it genuinely makes them go blank. So, and I feel like this blank thing seeping through the reading, and it's messing with even me trying to read. I do not know what that is, but it's kind of out there. Like, to be honest, it's kind of funny, but I can also say it's spiritual. It's related to some sort of like contradiction. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is, if this is not what you wanted, then I don't know. But this is messing with me. This reading is messing with me big time. Yeah, and again, we have this message, this reoccurring message, Ten of Swords in reverse. It's as if you've got yourself a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth chance that you shouldn't have. Like on the in the normal circumstances, it shouldn't have been. You know what this is giving me? Like, this is not gonna lie. This is a circumstance that it reminds me of someone who has been through like a severe like life circumstance that people, when they look at it and say like this is like a lost case, or it's very hard, like people usually don't recover after it. And in your case, you have managed to recover from it so well, it's left no trace. So it's like, that's impossible, that cannot be, this cannot be. That's like the words that are channeling, that are urging to be channeled. This cannot be. Like, the recovery, it's very close to being called miraculous. Okay, that's what I'm feeling it's the case, because the Ten of Swords, it's the end card. So it's like, usually when the scripts, like, how do you say, like the end, like when you watch the movie and they roll the picture and they say the end, final, and with the Ten of Swords in reverse, it's like, no, it's like reversal of the Ten of Swords. So it's like survival in this case, like reversal. And the Fool always, or not always, but sometimes is being related to a new beginning, or the new start, or renewal. I've heard this in romantic readings, like renewal. So it's like with the Ten of Swords, it's basically restart from the zero. So that's pretty much scarily, like very marginally very interesting. I don't know what kind of capabilities of healing pile number 3 has, or recuperation, but seems like it's going on. Yeah, and strength. It's giving me, usually people break under such circumstances, and you have managed to. And this is secrecy. This is secrecy. It's like people know, they don't mention it. People have heard the rumors, the legends. They circulate. They are out there, and they don't like. This doesn't this doesn't make sense. Okay, so it's like, how are you here, or how you were in that point, and then you jumped 3 stages, 4 or 5 stages there. This doesn't happen. So this is not like, this doesn't make sense. Okay, it's almost as if people start to question their sanity, or they start to question whether they truly know who they thought you were. So if this is related to you somehow, like maybe advancement at work, or people recognizing you and you all of a sudden transforming your life, people would be like, this is marginally feeling like witchcraft. Like people would say that, and for you it'd be like, yeah, it's not, it's just me, and my life. It's almost as if with the Empress in reverse, that's from a more negative, like, let's say, standpoint. We did have people in here speculating and saying, like, unfortunately, like, that's what I'm gonna say in here. Don't take it personally, though, because this is not true. But they thought, like, you're going to be like a gray zone type of person. You're not going to achieve that much, or, it's as if you have in here people who didn't believe in you from the start. And we have in here the star flipped, so it's like, not only you proved them wrong, you proved something greater than their lowest expectation, and you even jumped their own expectation with themselves. Okay, you have in here some very powerful major arcanas in the reading, and let me count them. This is the Star in reverse, the Fool, the Empress in reverse, the Strength, the Moon card, and some minor arcanas from the Page of Cups, Two of Wands, 10 of Swords, and 3 of Swords. The theme in here is about past, a very difficult past being jumped, being solved, being met with a resolution in a very short period of time, while with advancement and renewal, we're coming with the Fool, Two of Wands, and the Page of Cups, as if, you're reborn. That's the energy I feel like. And from the people, like, what they see the moon. They look at the circumstances, they look at you and say, this cannot be normal. Or you have some sort of abilities, I don't know, in this case, of healing, of transformation, of change and renewal, and your life is so spiritually imbued that this carries itself out into the silver lining of your life circumstances, or your design in which your life unfolds. Because I cannot understand, I don't quite understand what's that, but it's basically a lot of major arcanas. And also with the Empress, I would say you've got a lot of people who didn't believe in you from the start. Like, I seen here a lot of odds being stacked against you from the people in general and from the circumstances themselves, and here you are, like, shining as if nothing ever stood in your path. So this is like giving me miracles overnight, or success stories overnight, or it's like a long time you had to just like be and grow under the shadows, and then when you emerged like a star in the night. You were radiant, or you emerged like a moon, or you emerged like a sun in the night, because it's the energy. It doesn't matter really the metaphors, but it's like you emerged. People expected you'd be like engulfed in darkness and in the unknown. Not only you didn't do that, but you emerged with such a power that it made people question their whole value system and the ways in which they perceive the world. Right? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that insane? Like, pile number 3. Let's say the positive things. I know these are or can be also positive, but I wanted to be neutral in this reading. Let's go into the positive, the magician. This is interesting because it's saying like people say right now from the positive scale that you are a magician or you are someone of a wizard in disguise. Do you know instances where, like, I don't know what's going on, but I did mention in second pile another story like this, but you have to know about Cinderella, right? We've had there, like, in one representation of a movie, like the godmother pretending to be a beggar. In this case, like, people look at you and think, like, the ones that know you from some time, they revisit the memory, they look, revisit the memory and think, oh my god, so much blather, I can't believe it. They think, are you truly who you are posing as? Like, are you truly that person who you pose as? This is giving me someone who rose from ashes. This is giving me someone who was in life in such circumstances that been they shouldn't have succeeded, and you were like, yeah, I'm gonna do it and prove everything and everyone wrong, even the whole logic of and the assessment. It's as if you are, with your example, proving the whole paradigm wrong. So it's okay, you want to question me? It's you could be even qualified to question the whole system. So it's like, when people look at your example, they think twice before they judge others, because they get reminded of your example and they say, like, yeah, better not question them, because look at pile number 3, they rose from the ashes and they were radiant, and it's from ashes from their perspective. For you, it's like, I knew what I was doing. Okay, so it's like, yeah, this is so funny. Like, and we have the blank card. I usually forget to take these out, but I use them as blank cards, but it's amazing. I want to say unspoken stuff. It's like, I see an image of someone wanting to approach you, ask you, like in an interview, what's your next move? Or what do you think about this? Or what do you think about the time when people were judging you? Or what's up? What's your mind up to right now? Or what are you up to in the future? We have people with a lot of questions, especially with the moon and strength. It's as if they cannot find the source of your power, or they cannot predict or define the source of your power, and it's genuinely making them feel very scared and very, yeah, scared. It's like scared, okay, confused also with the moon card. Also with the 7 of Pentacles in reverse, it's like, how is it that we work hard? How is it that, and this is like their definition, and they have everything together so well. They've put everything together so well. It's almost as if people give you a sort of a credit for the fact that you have a lot of luck, or you are the universe's favorite. That's their definition, and it's as if you behave in such a way that you know that, like, you are going to be rewarded, and you don't jump to conclusions, or you're not rash. You're not rash in your decisions, or you are not jumping to, like, as I said, conclusions, non-reactive as well. And people are like, we better be careful. Okay, let's go into the negative, because I have to be aware of that sort of thing as well. Yeah, it's like people are done in here. Okay, so it's like, from the negative scale of the message, people are saying, like, they are done with predicting things, they are done with assessing you, they are done with trying to underestimate or overestimate you, because clearly this doesn't work, and they have given up on this. So this is kind of the good news, by the way, because it feels like the haters no longer know how to assess or where to place you in which box, because you've proven them wrong, you know. There is hate in here, I'm not gonna lie, because it's like you left people bitter, okay? You left people with a sense of bitterness, but it's not because of you, it's because of them, because they have this, they are carrying this energy with themselves, and it's very suffocating, to be honest. Not gonna lie, like, it's very interesting how in this pile particularly, they shut themselves off, like the haters, they're shutting themselves off from any information about you whatsoever, because they do not want to hear another success story. They don't want to hear with another, like, they don't want to be once again reminded that you are succeeding at something that they are not, and they save themselves from this by simply deleting themselves from the knowing of what's going on with your life. Okay, like it's like Eight of Wands would be news, Queen of Cups would be in reverse, would be upset, emotional upset. So in this case, like, you trigger people because they hear stuff and they understand that you have better prospects than they do, where they understand that the logic in which you have progressed so far, it's so brilliantly awesome that it's going to be like this, and it's gonna be hard to keep up, so we better not even hear about them again because it's very frustrating. Also, you'd find that the Queen of Cups is facing away from the Eight of Wands, and also this is very funny because it reminds them, the more they try to run away from themselves, from the fact that they feel like they're not enough, the more it kind of triggers them and the more they are confirmed. Like, this is very sad at the same time, but yeah, it's your haters in here, so it's kind of, it is what it is. You just move forward, advance, and prove everything who and everyone who doubted you wrong. And this is by default. I feel like this pile is like, yeah, I know, I live my truth, and that's it, kind of, you know. So, um, again, we have Five of Pentacles. This is reminding me of that message again, like people discussing an overnight success story, or discussing your past, or them discussing your previous, like maybe job roles or something of that sort, where they felt like, you know, yeah, pile number 3 were like, some of them, not gonna lie, say that you were the underdog, okay? And it's like, look at pile number 3 right now. They rose from the ashes and now they are even higher than we are. This reading makes me want to feel like we're reading for the previous title, like unspoken conversations people had about you, but this is unsaid things. This is more to themselves, like people. Yeah, I don't want to like stress out this point too much, because the stuff that comes through in here is like more so on the scale, like people don't want to recognize, they don't want to think about you anymore because they get burned. I don't know if was your intention all along, but they get burned when they think about you. They undermine themselves. They feel like they are disempowered, or they feel like they are losers in life when they think about you, okay? And I'm sorry, this is like not, I don't say, like, I'm not necessarily pointing towards that, but this is what I see kind of in the reading. Unspoken, unsaid things people kept to themselves. It's also the energy or the message. It's we didn't believe in them. Like, we didn't believe in them. We didn't believe that they would make it. We never thought that they would make it, and they did. So it's like, this is kind of strange. Okay, unspoken, and from the positive scale this time. Yeah, this, oh my god, we have the Emperor. This is the positive scale of the reading. You don't know how worthy right now you're in their eyes, but of course I know, and you know perhaps, that this is not very authentic, but from the standpoint of reputation, from the standpoint of who you are, and in their eyes specifically, you have risen you have exploded some like rooftops right now in their eyes. Like it's the energy of unspoken recognition, respect, and even like it's giving me bowing down. I don't know why. Like this is very strange, but I guess my duty is to mention it. It's almost as if people have no choice right now but to recognize your brilliance. In this case, the Emperor talks about a higher job position. In this case, the Emperor talks about more status, more money, more something that forces them to still participate and know stuff about you, but right now you are at a higher level than they are. Okay? I feel like this pile knows and feels and exactly perceives that they are and they were all along everything I'm mentioning in here. It's only that people's eyes got opened not so far ago, unfortunately. It's like this pile is ever evolving in their own sense of evolution and brilliance, but people are a bit stagnant with that process. And it's not like, you are the movie and they are the uh, viewers. No, it's more so like you are non-apologetic with your sense of confidence and with your sense of who I truly am and what's my value, because that's what I'm sensing in here is the case. And Emperor is a very worthy, it's a very powerful card to have in, and we got it confirmed also by the King of Cups. You are being seen as like a mediator of sorts. You are being seen like a very honorable, a very noble, and a very like highly esteemed person aside from the Emperor. It's a very balanced thing, and you have in here supporters saying like you deserved it, you deserved it more than you think, and you deserve the best. For who you are, you deserve the best. It's like virtue speaking about or to themselves about you. It's like you don't even have to testify anything. Your deeds, your words, your presence, your help in people's lives, it speaks it speaks for itself. Okay, in this case, don't even bother to defend, don't even bother to do anything about your haters in this case, because I feel like you could be long gone and your deeds or something about your reputation, like the people you have came in contact with, they would be like, yeah, I know pile number 3, they're very, very, very honorable, a very honorable person with the King of Cups, the Emperor, and it's like we believe that they deserve the best. And we have this ship like in the distance. You have even people from past, the ones that you no longer see, and they say like, I know, like pile number 3 is fire, like pile number 3 is divine fire, so they deserve the best, and we are there for them, even if they know this or they don't, we are in for them. It's fascinating, okay? It's fascinating how you have in here circumstances and stuff like information wise that's ahead of the whole game, and a lot of like unexpected progressions of events that are making people feel like they are being held back, or they thought that they are above you, but everything got turned upside down. Very strange from their standpoint, but from mine, it's actually quite amusing, because usually that's exactly what I encounter. Like the people who are most non-reactive, who are most confident about their power, they don't feel like they have to show it, prove it, or defend it, and they usually end up in situations, or they usually end up being recognized for who they are, and they naturally advance, and they are being seen by everyone, and they are being um, treasured and cherished by everyone, and these people are held like gold, they are treasured and held like very dear to heart by a lot of people. And especially in here in your reading with the King of Cups, you've got some people like you live in people's hearts. This is and if I were to ask why, and specifically why, like it wouldn't even be for you an issue, because you know yourself too well, and you know your intentions also too well. So it's like at some point in time it should have been the case that you were actually trying and living your truth of helping and assisting and aiding those around you, and everything like Now the world wants to give it back to you. And perhaps this is in and of itself the reason why I saw there the success overnight. Or it's like, even the whole world and the ground upon which you walk, it's thanking you for not bringing suffering, for not bringing even more suffering upon it. My God, this is insane. I wasn't expecting. Yeah, and I'm saying this like every single time. But I guess it is what it is. um, be sure to comment below that you're pile number 3 and you resonate or agree with things that I have said in here, because I feel like, especially in the beginning part of the reading, I was like, what am I talking about? Time traveling? Am I insane? Just kidding, but this is so funny. Like, sometimes the card information or meanings, they intertwine, and the channeling as well intertwine so strangely that I have to just keep guessing, like, okay, and what does that supposed to mean? Like, I see this fish or this stone or this drop of water, like, now what am I supposed to do with this? Like, what am I supposed to give to pile number X, Y, Z? Okay. That was all, pile number 3. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I definitely did. Maybe not from the start, because I was like, now who's going to explain all of this to pile number 3? But anyways, that was a fun experience, not gonna lie. I love being on the brink of discovery, even if I don't make sense of it from the beginning to like middle of the reading. It's anyways a very exciting journey to read for you, and especially the part when I uncover and read the impact that you have upon people. That's fascinatingly deep and positive. It's like a genuine desire for aid in here. Like, of course, like, we can aid people when we are established, but in here it's like, I'm here for myself but for others as well. So it's like, let's flourish together. Like, that's so fun. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for bringing this energy into the readings. So that's all, pile number 3. I hope you enjoyed the read. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to my channel. Check out the old videos as well, and please consider donating if you want. Of course, if you don't, that's completely fine. You can show, or if you don't, your support in uh, ways and ways again. Okay. Um, I have to mention, this is like my conscience saying, I don't expect, or donations are not expected, but always appreciated. I think that's all. Looking forward to your comments and to hearing from you again in the future. Hope to see you in the future readings. Take care, pile number 3.